Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Diamonds and Rough podcast. Joined by Mike and Nate. We have a fun one because
Some
you
would
know
say,
Nate might be taking a back seat here, just because Mike and I, since we met in college, have had a long thing on a certain basketball player. So we're gonna talk about that Celtics trade. Maybe a bit of the Chris Paul trade, maybe some draft stuff. We'll see. Um, so I can tell you how I'm planning on this going. I want it to not end in yelling, even though it will, but see how long we can delay that.
good luck with that.
Yeah, well, yeah. Um, so Marcus Smart. For originally, the deal was Malcolm Brogdon goes to the Clippers, Kristaps Porzingis goes to Celtics, and the Wizards get like Gallinari, Marcus Morris, and a pick, I believe, some along those lines. Then that fell through. And what I'm hearing, you guys can agree or disagree, is the Clippers were worried about the Brogdon stuff, the Brogdon injury, um, getting that physical in time. They didn't necessarily trust the Celtics and didn't want to take their word for it. So the deal fell through. What I'm also hearing is Brogdon is perfectly fine and will be ready opening night. That's what
Yeah,
I'm hearing. Mike is
it's,
very,
there's a
Mike
lot
loves
of
Smart, so he just hates it and hates Brogdon now and all that. But the new deal, which this is official, is that Porzingis still goes to Celtics. Marcus Smart goes to the Grizzlies, and the Clippers get Gallinari, Muscala, Tyus Jones. I'm guessing some draft picks. I don't really remember. And the Celtics also got 2 first-round picks.
Mhm.
So that's the deal.
Yep.
Um, Now I know Mike's gonna turn this into I hate Marcus Smart. I'm a terrible person. Blah blah blah. That's not it. But I'll let Mike go with his thing, and he's pulling out his phone. So,
He thinks he's got the receipts, does he?
oh, he's gonna say because I was happy about the trade, because I like the trade. That doesn't mean I don't like Marcus Smart, but you can go. All right,
Anyway,
so I'll start while Mike is scrolling through his text to find any evidence that says I hate Marcus Smart. I have
okay.
simply
Hi, how we
Exactly.
doing tonight? All right.
hey Mike, yeah.
We have a text from here. All right. So I wake up, sorry, Thursday morning. I'm at my golf tournament. I get a text from John saying, all caps, and Marcus is gone. Let's go. It's crazy how I'm more happy Smart is gone than Porzingis is here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That just like made me want to like jump off a cliff. You know what I mean? Because I was already like down, and then I got John throwing a party in downtown Boston at one of the bars. Hey, Marcus Smart's gone. Let's
Let me
go.
remind you, and I told you I'd get you back for this when you were dancing on my grave after that Monday night game versus the Bears. I told you I'd get you back for this. And that is exactly what I did. And I took full advantage. So I hope you felt every emotion from those texts.
It always comes back to Patriots
Always
Bears.
comes back around. Always comes back around. So just remember that because you were having a grand old time. It took me, a lot of months, but we're here. But none of that says I don't like Marcus Smart. But
You threw a party when he got traded.
so I wanted him gone for 3 years, and it had nothing to do with like I don't like him or anything. My deal is this: name me a championship team where a role player is your leader.
Hmm.
And I said this 3 years ago, so you can't be pondering it like you've never heard it from me. Because now we're 3 years ahead and you still can't name one. So there's none. Clearly, Mike,
I
we
don't see
got
how
it.
that's Marcus's fault though.
It's not. I never said it was. That's my whole thing was you need to trade him. So Tatum and Brown need to step up and be the leaders. They were never going to be that because Marcus was such a dominant voice. None of that is his fault. But you can't change Marcus to not be a leader. You just need to get rid of him.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
Nate, go.
yeah, that's a piece that I didn't really think of. Yeah, there's clearly the past 2 years, Tatum and Brown have had somewhat of a leadership problem when it gets to those tough times. They haven't really been able to pull themselves out, pull the whole team out, and be able to will them to a championship, obviously. So, yeah, this really forces them to uh, become those guys and become those dogs that, a lot of people say they don't have. I think they got it in there somewhere. So, yeah, if this is the thing that pulls it out of them, could be a positive, definitely.
I know Jalen has it in him. I don't know about Tatum, but the point was one of them needs to be the voices of the team.
Mhm.
And if you want to say it's irrelevant, whatever, Marcus, I've heard Marcus is a great leader all the time. How many times have the Celtics not been ready and mentally not been ready? I'm not putting that all on Marcus, but I'm saying it's not to say like the leadership is expertise and we need him for that leadership because clearly it hasn't worked all the time.
I mean, for me, it's like the problem is Jason and Jalen not stepping up. I don't think you trade one of your best defensive players, your heart and soul of the team, your fan favorite, just so your two stars can finally get a grip. Like, oh, okay. Like we've seen a lot of championship teams where, you know, guys will who aren't the star voicing their, leadership. Like look at the Raptors with Kyle Lowry and, Fred VanVleet even. They were Kawhi was voicing too, but obviously the other two were also huge voices in that locker room, and they didn't trade them. So, like,
yeah, they traded DeRozan, the fan favorite. Such a terrible move, and then they won a title.
Okay, that was
So
for
we
Kawhi.
can't act like trading fan favorites is a bad thing. It can be a great thing.
Okay, I would rather have Marcus Smart than Malcolm Brogdon. You can, if you want to have bum Malcolm Brogdon, one leg, one arm, that's fine. I'd rather Marcus Smart than Malcolm Brogdon. I've been a KP guy. I came on here 2 weeks ago and said I want KP.
Yeah,
I love
you got
Kristaps
him.
Porzingis. I'm glad we got him. I just hate that it's Marcus Smart, and I'm pissed at the Clippers because if the Clippers weren't so dumb, we would have what I wanted, and we'd still have Marcus Smart. And to your point, we made the finals in 2022. We were two games away from winning, and that was with Marcus Smart. Are you going to blame that finals loss because Marcus Smart was being a leader? And should Al Horford still be here because Al Horford and Marcus Smart were like the co-leader. So if you're going to get rid of one leader, by your point, then Al Horford should be in Mississippi right now.
Al Horford's much more of the lead by example guy, though.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the fire and stuff.
I just don't know how you can say, oh, we need to get rid of the guy who's voicing his opinion the most. If you really are that upset about it, tell Marcus Smart to shut the hell up, and I'm sure you won't have a problem.
Yeah, he would. What? That's his personality. You can't tell someone to stop their personality.
But he's not saying
Mike,
anything
this
bad.
Is something I've said for like 3 years. We've seen the experiment. You can't act like I'm crazy for this. They clearly can't win a title. So something has to change. Do you disagree
are the
with
Celtics
that?
winning next year? Are the Celtics win next year right now?
I would have them winning next year, yeah.
You have
right now, if I had to pick, I'm picking them winning.
Your defense? Jaylen Brown regressed.
The All-NBA second team, Derek White.
White.
Also,
and why are we saying like Tatum and Brown are bad defenders or Robert Williams?
How was the defense last year?
It wasn't good.
And you just got rid of your best defender.
But it got good in the playoffs.
Not your best defender.
He's not your best defender. You need to stop with that.
Rob's better.
Rob's on the court. Oh yeah, Rob, who's on the court 16 games a year. Marcus Smart plays 60 games a year.
There was a clear decline in Marcus Smart defensively. Watch the games. He was not the defensive player of the year. So if you're going to hold the defense accountable, you also need to hold Marcus Smart accountable for all his stuff if you're going to be talking about him like this.
Okay, I hold him accountable for his late dumbness, obviously. I've said that about him.
His late game dumbness, is that what you're saying? We're acting like that's not important in the playoffs because that's lost us multiple playoffs.
If you take Marcus Smart off that team, you don't even beat the Sixers. He was that critical in that series. I don't know if you watched it because again, you stopped watching because you had this thing where you couldn't watch because you had to. You said
I watched
you had
that
to.
whole series.
Okay, he was pivotal in that Sixers series. Legit pivotal. He made big shots at the end of those games to get into that next round. Okay, and look, I like KP. I'm glad he's here. I'm not complaining about KP, I'm just pissed that it had to come to this. Okay. And I understand why it came to this. It was either you get rid of Marcus Smart or you're not getting KP. I understand it. Brad had literally 10 minutes to decide this. He had 10 minutes and he chose to do it. I get it. Okay. I'm just saying we got worse on defense. I don't care what you say. That's my opinion. You can have your opinion. That's fine. I believe we got worse on defense. Mm-hmm. I think also I trust Brian Windhorst and his sources who are saying that Malcolm Brogdon can't be traded for a wiffle ball right now because he has one arm and one leg. Okay. That is Brian Windhorst saying that, who was the same guy a week ago who said the Celtics were going to do something in a few days, and they did. Okay. Windhorst has very good sources. So there's people saying that Malcolm Brogdon can't be moved for anybody. He's now your point guard you have to rely on the most with Derek White. So now you have no depth. You have Peyton Pritchard who asked for a trade 2 weeks ago.
Or come on. Actual playing time. That's what he said. Or playing time.
Bro,
playing time now. I've also heard a different thing with Brogdon. I've heard he's the healthiest he's ever been. He's going to start the season. That's what
why did no one want him?
Because it was so late, the Clippers couldn't get a physical, so they were going off the Celtics' word, and they didn't trust it.
That's fine. They have every right to do that.
That was their choice.
If Porzingis wanted to win, he should have expanded that thing by 24 hours, and he didn't. But here's the thing. Why did Brian Windhorst come out with a report the next day saying that Celtics called many other teams about Brogdon, and they didn't want him? They didn't want him at all. Because
I'm not sure, but we can't act like there hasn't been reports that just aren't true, or some team says it.
How did Brogdon do in the playoffs last year? How did he do?
Yeah, he had a broken forearm. That's when he started to play bad.
Okay, but you were critical of Marcus Smart.
I've also been critical of Brogdon, but I've also said he was extremely hurt and he played through
okay, I would rather have a healthy Marcus Smart than a kind of hurt Malcolm Brogdon. I'm sorry.
Obviously, I'd rather have a healthy player than a hurt player.
And I'd rather have a healthy Marcus Smart than a healthy Malcolm Brogdon, too.
Let's actually get some even ground here. You don't think the trade is bad?
No.
Is what I'm hearing. You think
I just think
it's a good trade. It's obviously sad.
I'm very concerned. I'm extremely concerned about our guard depth right now. I'm very concerned because I would feel a lot better if it was Malcolm Brogdon. Okay.
Okay. I just want to make this clear, though. You think it's a good trade?
I don't know. I mean, I think getting Kristaps Porzingis was the best move you could have done this offseason. I think what we gave up it could bite us in the you know what when it comes down to it. Okay, and it could. If we see in the playoffs next year there's no intensity at all, if we see that Michael Brogdon's not healthy and Derek White's back to being inconsistent, and if we see that there's if there is no. We've had, there's always that dog in the playoffs you see that comes out of nowhere and makes these, sacrificing his body and making these big plays. If we don't see any of that and they start to regress and you don't move on, you can look back at this trade and be like, well, that's because you gave up Marcus Smart.
I don't like when we attribute hustle to one guy. That's not.
Well, he's the only one that was hustling last playoffs because everyone was barely trying.
Just not true. I hate hang on. I hate the trying thing. Why are we acting like these dudes don't care? Why do we act like they don't care?
Because they don't come out, like you said earlier, they don't come out the way they should.
Yeah, they might not come out the way they should, but that doesn't mean they don't care. They're not trying. You can't say it like they don't want to win. We can't act like Marcus Smart's the only one who wants to win, and his energy's transferred to all the guys, and that's why they play the way they do.
Your scapegoat is gone. Your scapegoat is gone.
Scapegoat is gone. We're acting like I didn't blame Tatum for getting 100 turnovers last night.
I know. I'm saying,
what are we talking about here?
The fan base's scapegoat.
I just think it's so dumb that anytime anything happens and I mention Marcus Smart in any way, you go to me like I'm scapegoating him.
He is the fan base's scapegoat. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
that's not true. He's the fan base's favorite player. Everyone's crying. What are you talking about? That's what you said. So how are you saying he's the scapegoat? Let's stop with the hypocrisy, man.
It's a split. It's half of us love him and are gutted, and the other half are like you in Boston throwing a parade.
That's definitely not true because I have not heard another person be happy he's gone.
Yeah,
I have not heard one other person.
There's a large group of Celtic fans that have blamed Marcus Smart for everything last year and hate on Marcus Smart. There is a group. I don't know what you're talking about. There is. and their scapegoat is now gone. So let's see who it is next year.
So now let me ask you the counter. What if they win the title? What are you going to say?
Well, I Malcolm Brogdon and Derek White proved me wrong.
But you're not going to say anything about how clearly they had to move on from Smart.
No, because I think you can win a championship with Marcus Smart. I will die on that hill. I think you can win a championship.
Okay, but how many tries do we need to have? I mean,
what do you mean? They've had 3 tries. I mean, are we really going to take
had 3 tries?
I mean, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown before they're like 23.
9 years,
we're counting those tries. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum just entered their prime.
Why are we not?
Because
they made the Eastern Conference Finals.
Name me superstars that have won that are. I mean, Steph. They all win when they're 27. Like, what are you talking about? It takes years. You know what I mean? It's not going to take like.
So now you're on they all win until they're 27. But
well, tell me someone who hasn't done that.
Giannis.
No, he did it when he was 26.
When 25. You said
either way. Tatum is okay, and Tatum is 25 right now.
My point is, I would bring up that argument, and you wouldn't be having it. But now, because it favors Marcus Smart, you're all about
okay,
it.
then trade Tatum and Brown then, because Tatum had 8 years.
That makes no sense.
So you're saying Smart's had 9 years?
Did you say Tatum had 8 years?
You're saying Smart had 9 years, correct? Wait, Smart had 9 years, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Brown had 8. Get rid of him. And Tatum, he had 7. So get rid of him then. Get rid of both of them then, because that's enough time, I guess, right?
No.
Then why? Okay, well, you just said 9 years of Marcus Smart.
They're actually the best players on your team. We're talking about a role player.
Okay, so if Tatum doesn't win, if Brown doesn't win next year, he's got to go, right? Because 9 years and you're out, right? According to you,
that would not be his 9th year.
Yeah, Mike.
Brown.
My God, that's not his 9th year. Well, you do some mathematics. I'll keep going.
Look,
fun. I just wanna get some middle ground here, and then we can get into a controversial thing that I'll have that you're really gonna get mad at me about. You think the trade's good, you're worried because Marcus Smart's been here the whole time, he's your favorite player, fan favorite, all that. Makes sense. You're worried no one's gonna step up and be a leader, which usually isn't how things work. I mean, even if you want to talk real world in a company, if a big boss gets fired, it's not like no one steps up. So the leaders are going to step up. Brown and Tatum are going to step up. Okay.
Because Brown stepped up when Tatum was injured, right? He totally stepped up, right? Right.
I mean, he tried
to. Right. Yeah, he totally
tried to. This is also a leadership thing, not a skill thing.
Right. We'll see how leadership is next year when you're.
Yeah, we're going.
By the way, Joe Mazzulla is the problem with the leadership, not Marcus Smart. You'll see that.
Holy crap. Wait. The person who talks about who cares about coaches, it's all about players, is now saying that leadership is on Mazzulla, not Marcus Smart. Cool. All right.
Hypocrisy.
Yeah, this is getting a little wild here. It is not looking good. People could go back in the pause if they really want to destroy you. But all right. So let's talk about the other teams in the trade real quick, and then we can get back. I think it is a phenomenal move for the Grizzlies. I think Marcus Smart is going to absolutely thrive there. I think it could be a similar thing to like when Tony Allen went there. Both went to the Grizzlies at 29. That's a team that needs leadership and someone to keep guys in check. Marcus Smart is perfect for there. I am happy, even though I hate Marcus Smart, Mike, I'm happy that he's on a team he's going to do amazing for, and I hope the best for him. And I will be watching and rooting for him. Nate, what are your thoughts on that? Because I think Mike doesn't believe it and still thinks I hate him. But
I think that's fair. Yeah, I mean, obviously they needed a guy to come fill in for Ja for those 25 games. Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be a big addition for them, and I think it's great that you're cheering for him. I'm still going to cheer for him as well. We all love Marcus Smart here. We all agree on that. Yeah, basically, I'm kind of in the middle here. I think it was definitely a good trade also, which I think we all agree on. But like Mike said, the defense does fall off a little bit with trading him, as well as the ball movement, which that's two of their biggest weaknesses I thought last year. Well, the ball movement was good at times. In the playoffs, it kind of got a little stagnant. That's kind of why they fell off a little bit in the playoffs. But I think just as long as they, and who knows what's true about Malcolm Brogdon, hopefully they're able to package him, maybe Grant, a couple of those picks, second round picks that they stockpiled on Thursday night. Hopefully get someone else that can help with both those things. But yeah, we're all rooting for Marcus. John, I think that's very big of you to root for him. I know. I mean, you don't hate him, but
I
yeah,
don't hate him. I wanted him to be the pick at 6. Like
yeah,
this is I've never hated him. It was simply what I thought was best for the team, and I felt there had been evidence to support that. And I've always been a fan that can put the emotional part aside. I don't think a lot of people can. I always say I'm the most non-biased Boston fan. When people from other places talk to me, they're very shocked when I'm willing to shit on my team.
mhm.
you know. Um, but yeah, I think he'll do great there. I think he's almost a better fit in Memphis than Boston, to be honest. In Boston, he obviously had a fantastic career with, and he's going to be a fan favorite forever. And I hope at some point he does come back because the crowd would go crazy if he did.
Oh man, yeah. They're bringing the grit and grind back in Memphis, though. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
So, Mike, Grizzlies fan over here, what do you think about the fit of Marcus Smart to Memphis?
I mean, they got him for free. Well, who the Grizzlies give up?
What?
Tyus Jones. I
Ty,
mean, come on.
do not disrespect Tyus Jones like that. That is disgusting from
He's
you.
good, but like he's no Marcus Smart.
Well,
But
that's
yeah,
why
I
they're
mean,
trading him away
He's,
for
he's
Marcus.
won playoff games when John's been out, man. All right.
Marcus Smart made the finals, anyways. So I think it's a great fit. I feel very bad for Marcus Smart that he has to deal with John Morant, but it is what it is. At least he's on a playoff team. And I wanted to add, I didn't add this earlier. I think we're forgetting the part where if we don't trade Malcolm Brogdon, I wonder how that's going to go in the locker room next year because Malcolm Brogdon knows that the Celtics have been trying to trade his ass for the last 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be a whole nother thing. So
I
that's
mean,
another reason why we really could be. So that's another reason why the best thing would have been if the Clippers had taken that deal because then we could have kept Smart and we would have gotten and plus Brogdon knew his name was going that whole day. I'm sure in his mental he was expecting to be in LA. So that another thing is we there could be a whole fallback from that. You know what I mean? We've seen it before. It can happen again. Where a guy like DeAndre Ayton, even there was drama with him and the Suns last year. He knew they wanted to trade him the whole offseason. He left for the Pacers and they had no other options but to keep to match his deal and they couldn't get anyone else to take him. So that was another thing going on. So that's another thing I'm concerned about is if we're gonna have a whole saga with Brogdon.
That's a valid concern. I will give you that. I also want to add in the Aiden thing though. That was months and months of the Suns trashing on Aiden and saying how he's easily replaceable. Celtics have never trashed on Brogdon. I mean, I like to. Brogdon is it is tough like hearing your name get called out and stuff, but Brogdon is a calm dude, and I do think there is some level of understanding of we're heavy on the guards. We can get Kristaps Porzingis, and I'm a guy who would help with that. It's still going to be tough mentally. We'll see how it goes. I'm not going to discount it like it's not a concern.
for sure. I think he's a professional, though. I think he understands.
But we'll see. It wouldn't surprise me if it's like Brogdon wants out or Brogdon's mad at the Celtics or whatever. We'll see. And then final, real quick, is just the Wizards part where they're getting Tyus Jones. They'll be able to showcase him, get a pretty nice deal for him. Even Gallinari, I'm sure a playoff team will give something for him. The Wizards, I am very happy they've decided to blow it up. And they're actually going in a direction.
About time.
Good for them. That's my simple thing. If you guys have any disagreements, go for it.
The Wizards got Jordan Poole too, which
That's going to be
like
fun. He's
a
going to get
low
like
key
40
move.
shots a game.
I think the Wizards have, people were really going off on them about the Beal trade, but it's like, look, The minute you gave him a no trade clause, you weren't going to get a lot of value for him because he was only going to be able to, you know what I mean? Like he basically push his way to any team possible.
Yeah.
But at least they got Jordan Poole because for some reason the Warriors wanted a 40-year-old, which is fine. That's their opinion. But
We can get into that.
we'll get into that. But Jordan Poole, they drafted. I know John's more about the draft, but they drafted someone I heard he's pretty good. John, you can probably say something about that. But I hear so for the Wizards. Look, I think they obviously they could have got done better, but they I think the Jordan Poole trade really helped them salvage something at least, right? And I'm just psyched to see KP in Boston, despite the ramification of it.
Yeah. Now, time to make Mike really mad with what I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
I like the second rendition of the trade more.
I mean, I've heard people say that, but
And obviously that's because I felt you had to move on from Marcus Smart. But my favorite part of the deal is that you get those picks.
oh,
And this is something I've talked with. Nate and I did a podcast a year ago, and I told him Jalen's getting 60 mil. This whole CBA thing is something I've been on for a while. And with the way the money works, the Celtics in the future, if they're going to want to stay competitive with their core of Tatum and Brown, who have plenty of years, you're going to have to draft your role players. That's what you're going to have to do. And they've traded a lot of draft capital to get different guys like Brogdon, like Derek White. Getting some of that back was a huge part of it. And I know we love Marcus Smart, but you're now looking at it and you're saying we were able to get rid of Marcus Smart and we got Kristaps Porzingis, a first, 4 seconds, and a prospect in Jordan Walsh, who I'm a huge fan of, will have a big defensive impact in a year or two. Even in his rookie year, you'll be able to play him. He's a 6'7", crazy athletic guy with a 7'2" wingspan. Say what you want, he's going to be an elite defender someday. Okay? Hopefully we can work on his shot. But who came in the league as an elite defender and couldn't shoot? Marcus Smart. So I have high hopes for it. And you have some draft capital now. You're going to be able to draft these role players if you make the right decisions. And based on what I've been seeing from Brad Stevens, who's making right decision after right decision after right decision, I think it's fantastic.
I disagree with you 100%. That's okay. And I think you can at least admit that Marcus Smart has a lot more value than Malcolm Brogdon.
Oh yeah, 100%. No, there's no disagreement with
so basically, you like the trade because you got picks. I got it.
No,
I 100% disagree with you, but I got it.
No, that's not it. I think that's a bonus to that. I liked the deal before knowing we got picks. I liked the deal. Once I found out we got 2 first, I thought it was an absolute steal. I want to remind you from the first statement I said about how none of it is anything. You're muted. None of this is anything to say like Marcus Smart isn't a good player. I don't like him. Is that I thought they had to move on from him to take a next step. I think there's plenty of examples throughout sports where they needed to move on from a guy, a fan favorite, and then that next step is taken.
Yeah, for sure.
And there's not a ton of examples where the role player is the leader and they win a championship.
Yeah, I mean, I thought for 2 minutes couldn't think of anyone. So,
Nate, Brogdon trade or the Smart trade?
I would have rather the Brogdon trade.
That's very fair.
But I, like you, Mike. I mean, and John likes him too. But I just love Marcus Smart. It's it's tough to see him go, and it's sad. That's more of what I feel towards the trade. More sad than because again, I do think objectively it was still a good trade. I would have rather done the Brogdon one, but I still think it is a good trade. And yeah, we'll see if they hold on to these picks. Yeah, maybe draft these role players. Jordan Walsh, I love that pick. He seems like he's going to be a baller. He's going to be one of those guys that helps hopefully bring that defensive identity back, which we were lacking last year. So, and it seems like he's all in on the Celtics. He had his introductory press conference today. He's very hyped about joining the team. So I'm hyped about him joining us.
Because getting those picks right, I'm telling you, it's huge. When you're going to be paying Tatum and Brown both $60 million, it's going to be great when you can put a guy in for 30 minutes. He's making $800K and he's playing fantastic defense. If you can get something like that right, that's huge. We saw with the Nuggets, they draft Christian Braun. He's huge for them. That's a late first round pick.
Mm-hmm.
I still think they win without him because they just steamrolled, but I'm saying that's a huge pick. And now they have insurance in case Bruce Brown's going, let me get paid. They have a replacement. We saw it. He's ready, you know? So it does matter. I know everyone hates the draft picks, but it does matter. And just to point out, talking about Marcus Smart, you know, I do want to say my fondest Celtics memory was that I was at that game where he drew 2 charges on James Harden at the end. I was at that game. That was the craziest basketball sports moment I saw. And the reason I'm prefacing that is because I've gone to so many Patriots games. Down 14 twice. I was there, right? All that stuff. But as far as Celtics memory, that is my favorite because I was there and that was crazy.
Ridiculous.
We can talk the Chris Paul trade. I'll let Mike, do you have another thought or?
When is Brown getting the money? What do you think? July, August? What do you think?
Whenever it opens up.
Oh, so you think like the minute it
Yeah.
opens is going to be a sham?
5 years, 295.
That's right. Because I feel like we haven't heard that yet.
I mean, isn't it? There's like the day things become official, but there's like the day before all the deals get announced or something. I get football and NBA confused all the time. But
this new CBA is not it.
No, first day he's gonna get signed, and I love that they're not even playing around with it.
Yeah,
you know, because I think we've talked about it. They've been really bad to him, especially with like KD trade rumors, and they're not discounting it. You need to go right up and say he's our guy. I know that had some negative effect, but I think they're trying to fix it by we're not even playing any games. You want 5,295, you're getting 5,295. So, but we can talk Chris Paul trade, which was Chris Paul for Jordan Poole, and I believe the Wizards got some picks. Is that?
Yeah, Warriors gave up the picks in that one. Yeah,
right. So
I think it was like 2030 or something like that. It was like
sounds about right.
Crazy.
Which actually that could be good if Steph's retired by then.
Yeah, I mean, what is it? What's he in 7th grade right now, or 5th grade?
When's the next future Wizard?
Yeah, he's in middle school right now. So
yeah, so they got to get scouting.
The Wizards will take what they can get.
Bro, that's why the Thunder keep getting these good picks. They're looking at them in middle school. But
they got all the scouts everywhere.
Have I told you guys the concept of the tank commander? Seems like no. My brother told me about this concept and I've stuck with it. And basically it's a guy that is going to be your number one guy. He has no business being your number one guy. He's so fun to watch. He's going to give you exciting moments, but you're going to lose a lot of games. Examples are like Terry Rozier with the Hornets, right? That type of stuff. Zach LaVine, like with the Bulls before they even were close to the playoffs. Guys that'll have incredible games, incredible moments. They're the number one option. They shouldn't be. Jordan Poole is going to be like a Hall of Fame tank commander where he's going to shoot 30 shots a game. He might have a 56-point game on terrible efficiency. Like he might do that stuff and you're still going to lose 60 games probably and get a good pick. So in my opinion, Wizards are going to be fun because of this move.
He's going to do his best Steph Curry impression all season.
He should dribble up at half court. You're like, he could shoot it. I wouldn't be surprised.
He probably will a lot of the time too. So it'll be fun for that reason. Yeah, if you're looking to see wins, it won't be fun there.
Because here's the thing, Jordan Poole was an absolute idiot with Golden State last year, playing on a title contending team with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green looking at him like he's the dumbest dude. He now has no filter. They don't care what he does. You're going to see Shaq in a fool moments like 3 times a week from him. It's going to be fantastic.
That's for sure.
That's my only Wizard side.
Yeah, honestly,
Oh, sorry, Nate. Go ahead.
I was gonna say for them, it's just this is the worst place to be in the NBA is just that mid, like you're playing territory. Like,
The Tennessee Titans.
yeah, you're just you're never gonna actually compete, and you're not gonna be bad enough. Sorry for the ricochet shot there, John.
Hey, they had one shot, and then they signed Tannehill to a big deal. We don't need to delve into it.
When they could have
I'm already
Tom
going to
Brady.
cry later, probably, when we talk about the Hornets pick. Go on.
But anyway, yeah, now they can finally get to that just full tank, blow everything up, rebuild, and hopefully, turn it around here.
Anything, Mike? Or
I got nothing about the Wizards side. I have a lot about the other side.
I'll let you start with the Chris Paul part of it.
Oh, yeah? I can go?
Yeah. Can I just say
Okay.
something real quick? Real quick. I'm
No.
terribly sorry.
No, go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
Chris Paul's been moved so many times. When it was reported that Chris Paul was going to the Warriors, my immediate thought was, is he getting bought out by the Warriors? That doesn't make sense. I didn't even think of the fact that he could be playing on the Warriors, but I guess that's the thing. So, Mike, I'll let you go now.
I came to this conclusion, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted the Celtics to get KP, and I thought that the Warriors should move on from Jordan Poole. However, but the way both teams did it, I completely disagree with the way both teams did it, okay? What are the Warriors doing? Why would you trade Jordan Poole, who is half of Chris Paul's age? Please don't. That's just saying.
No, it's exaggeration.
Don't actually quote
me.
For a 38-year-old who can't win a ring, it's what he's known for. He's ZP0 rings. And can we just talk about how now you're going to have 2 point guards? And we saw this with Chris Paul and James Harden did not work. Chris Paul, I mean, look.
Hang on now.
Look, Stephen Curry.
They would have beat the 2017 Warriors if Chris Paul didn't get hurt.
Whatever. Look, I don't see any multiverse, where Chris freaking Paul is winning a championship with Stephen Curry. And now, by the way, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, and Chris Paul. I mean, are we kidding me?
I mean, if you
That'd be lethal in 2016.
I know.
If you have those first 2 guys, I mean, you got a chance anyway.
What is Dunleavy doing? You know what they need to do? They need to take a time machine. Go back to before the good GM left.
You've been watching too much Marvel.
We're gonna. Oh, I don't watch Marvel anymore. It's.
All right. You've watched too much Marvel.
They need to take a time machine, go back, and say, hey, we should have kept our president of basketball operations. I know he wanted to leave.
Yeah,
we should have paid him $1 billion or something. I don't know.
Give him that.
I'm kidding. But I mean, he wouldn't have done this trade. There's no way. I mean, is Steph Curry? Is he? I don't know.
He's a good basketball player. I'll tell you that.
I'll tell you something, Steph. This is not what you should have done. If you had any input on this, just saying. My God.
Nate, you go next.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to see how this is going to work out. Jordan Poole, they just needed to move on from him. Oh, nice Roku remote, Mike. Yeah, honestly, Chris Paul, the thing, it just doesn't really make sense to me why they would bring in the biggest reason for a team at this point in Chris Paul's career, I would think, to bring him in would be the leadership, mentor guys that haven't been there before, haven't won those rings, haven't had the playoff experience. The Warriors have that. and it's not Chris Paul isn't going to make them worse. It's probably just a lateral move, honestly, in my opinion. I just, maybe he can get them over the top. In my opinion, I just think it was kind of a lateral move.
Okay.
The first the two first round picks that they had to give up, or maybe it's just one. I don't remember, but
Too many, but
exactly. So it just, at best, it's a lateral move, and then who knows if Chris Paul is just completely washed, and I think it's just not a good trade. But like we talked about, getting off Jordan Poole, he was just such a problem for them last year. That's definitely a good thing, and who knows, maybe it will help them in the long run. But just seems like definitely a weird trade. Wasn't expecting it for sure.
definitely was not expecting it. Can agree on that. So I think the idea of the deal, and I'm gonna try. This is I don't like it. I'm gonna preface it. But this is the idea. I believe why they're doing this. Okay, first off, Draymond, don't knock out a player. That's gonna ruin your season. So they go, okay, do we keep Draymond or Poole? You keep Draymond even though he knocked him out. Don't know why you leaked the video, but that's another story. So you had to get rid of Poole. And I think the idea of Poole was they were hoping he can take on that dribble the ball up, let Steph play off the ball role to kind of preserve his career and make him as effective as he can be. Here's the problem. Jordan Poole would dribble up and he might chuck it from wherever he's at. He wasn't exactly able to be that, point guard dribble. Steph's the superstar. Don't forget Jordan.
Yeah.
He'd see a baddie in the third row and he'd go, I'm going to make this for her. And then he'd airball it. So, they're thinking Chris Paul can definitely do this role, which we know he can. Is that the effective thing to do? I don't think so. You probably don't want a cone on defense who can just because he can pass the ball. But I think that's the reason you do it, or they did it. I don't. Um, Also I think it's not the easiest to trade Jordan Poole. And what a turnaround it was for him. He's a valuable piece to a championship team to now, if you're a contender, you can't have him. This guy's an idiot. That's basically how it turned out. Yeah. So I don't think there were a lot of possible places for Jordan Poole to land. And then with his contract, there's not a lot of contracts you can take back to make it happen. Chris Paul is definitely on the move because Washington doesn't want him, and Washington's not trying to win, so they'll take a guy who has a ton of talent, and yeah, maybe he's got a screw loose, but I guess that's the idea. Neither can play defense. One's unselfish though, so they take the unselfish guy, and Chris Paul has more traits than that, but that's me trying to simplify it.
Are you starting? What's your start? I mean, first of all, they haven't even signed Draymond back, number one.
Exactly, which is something I'm wondering. But
and are you starting Chris Paul, Thompson, and Curry all together, or is
I have
Paul gonna
no
come off the
answer
bench?
for you. I have no answer.
I mean,
for
Steve
you.
Kerr is gonna have. I mean, what? Chris Paul is he gonna? Chris Paul's not gonna agree to come off the bench. No way. Especially when the Lakers could have had him when the Lakers could have had him and start him.
Well, I mean, at this point, that's not his decision. So he was the one who got
it also depends. What does he want? I don't know what he wants with his career.
There's no way he'll come off the bench.
I know he's addicted to the finals, but
yeah, one time making him.
He really did a good job.
Now, I think the funniest part of all of this is the irony of the fact that Chris Paul and Steph Curry are villains. I
think Steph Curry's a hero, but that's my.
No, I'm saying with each other.
Yeah, are they?
Not Steph Curry's not a villain. I'm saying Chris Paul and Steph Curry do not like each other.
Is that a thing?
Yeah. Do you not remember Steph yelling at him like this is 2014 or Chris Paul saying all that stuff when he lost to him? Chris Paul has made it known in many interviews he doesn't like Curry, and Curry has seen that and has talked all his trash back when he can, and now they're teaming up. Yeah. So it's kind of funny and ironic, and let's just see how it goes, right?
Well, if David Ortiz and David Price could do it, I'm sure they can do it too.
There you go.
Sure. Yeah.
Pat Bev and Russ.
Or Chris Paul will get traded for a third time in the same offseason.
Seventh. Could be the 7th time in his career. It's crazy.
Yeah, not often you see Hall of Famers get thrown around. Like, I'm not gonna finish that.
Hall of Famer.
So
what was that, Mike? You don't think he's
wait? What? Pause.
You're
just no way. You
He's
just say
arguable.
Chris Paul is not a Hall of Famer, especially when he played for your Clippers, who you love. Mike, are you gonna take it back, or are we gonna?
I didn't even hear what he said. He just
I
He
didn't
said Hall of Famer, and I'm
I didn't like his
mocking way.
Clippers. Anyways, I didn't like his Clippers.
Oh, you just like the hospital Clippers?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I think he's the most
Must be fun
overrated
watching
player
Trey
to
Man.
I think he's one of the most overrated players to ever play the game. But I mean, yeah, if that's Hall of Famer, then I think he is a Hall of Famer. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree.
He's overrated though. He is overrated.
Every single
He's
team
overrated.
he goes on, they win more games, but
They don't
yeah,
win. They
no, I
they
think
don't
he's
win though.
overrated.
I'll take
He is
from Mike. He
overrated.
thinks Chris Paul is a Hall of Famer.
Chris Paul 0 rings. CP 0 rings.
Look through the career of the teams he's had to play. It's been a tough road.
He's got no excuses. He had a big 3 in LA. He had the Suns.
Yeah,
He had
Blake and DeAndre.
the Rockets.
For Jordan, big 3.
Yo, okay. DeAndre Jordan is not talked about as a superstar without Chris Paul. You're telling me DeAndre's making an all NBA first team without Chris Paul? All NBA team. Let's take away the first team. All NBA team without Chris Paul? Is that what you're telling me? Brandon Knight would have a completely different career without Chris Paul.
Anyways, so
making that beautiful pass.
Anyways, so this week in the NFL.
Okay. So I think that's all the Chris Paul talk. We can see Mike clearly is a fan of him.
Oh yeah.
I hate his guts. Continue.
Should we wrap it up with my thoughts on what the Hornets did?
Yes.
So,
hey John, how did you like the Hornets' second draft pick?
LeBron is now the GOAT. Just want to say that. LeBron is the GOAT.
Hey, is Jordan even running things anymore?
Yeah, no, this was his final decision, Nate.
Oh, okay, nice.
This was what he was going to leave us with.
Leaving him off real well.
This is what he decided. He had the final say. This is what he wanted to leave us with. Because he has nailed so many draft picks.
Oh, yeah. We went through
He deserves to decide who goes number 2. Oh, my God. All right. But yeah, LeBron's the GOAT. I'm gonna argue with everyone if they ever say Jordan. I just want you to know. I texted it to multiple people. I said if he picks Brandon Miller, I'm gonna argue LeBron's the GOAT. I had him at 1A, 1B. LeBron's now 1.
Fair.
I don't care that GM doesn't matter. It does. Okay. So, all right. Here's the Hornets' thought process. Gonna try to tell you what they're thinking. They thought 6'2" point guard, 6'9" wing. We already have a point guard. We'll take the wing. He didn't give the murder weapon to someone. We're going to forget about that for now. We're going to take the 6'9" wing. And then with our other 2 picks, as we traded up to get another guy, we're going to take 2 uber athletic point guards that maybe they'll be like Scoot. Why don't you just take Scoot? Why do we need to draft 2 late athletic point guards hoping they'll be Scoot? Just draft the guy. All right. Hey, Scoot is the number 1 pick in like 90% of drafts. He just happened to go against a 7'5" guy who can shoot and dribble. Okay. Like he's a baller. So the Hornets clearly have an identity crisis and a character issue. Anyone wants to disagree, let me remind you that, we've had Devontae Graham, got arrested one time. Montrezl Harrell also, I believe, got arrested. James Bouknight passed out in a car. Miles Bridges drinking lean. Miles Bridges beating his girlfriend. LaMelo spends all his money on closing cars and then shoots threes 35 feet away after dribbling 16 seconds at the top of the key. There's issues with the character of the Hornets, okay? So let's draft a guy, right, who gave the gun to his friend. It was his gun. Okay, to be fair, he asked for it, gave it to him. Takes that gun, kills someone. I guess there's no character issue there, according to them. Woj even said in the draft lottery that apparently people loved the character of the kid. And to top it all off on this guy, other than not even going to mention the whole like disgusting display of basketball he did in March Madness and how he choked and all that. He said Paul George is the GOAT of basketball.
I agree with him.
Paul.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to kick you off. We're gonna have to do this whole thing.
Okay. Chill.
All right. You.
Oh no.
If any of you are watching this on YouTube, because for those who don't know, if you're listening on Spotify, we upload these on YouTube too. Mike has shared a very disgusting image, and I'm tempted to kick him, but we'll keep going. So, but the other guy, the guy you should have taken, will literally do anything he can to be the best player on your team and win a championship. This has been well documented, how mature he is, how much he wants to win, how much he wants to be the guy. And they passed on him because of a positional issue, because LaMelo plays point guard. We need LaMelo to be the point guard. LaMelo's 6'6". Put him at the 2. He can't cover anyone anyways. Who cares? All right. In fact, shooting guards are usually worse than the point guard. So have him cover the shooting guard. Maybe has a better shot. The Hornets just ignored all their issues, not even on the basketball court, but character-wise, and drafted this guy. And as I've supported this team for too much, seen too many terrible things happen, I guess I'm rooting for Brandon Miller, but I'm not happy about it. All right. And I'm ready for first day of Summer League for Brandon Miller to score 8 points, go like 3 of 15, 0 of 5 from 3, have 6 turnovers, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, and Scoot to have 28 points, 6 and 5 efficient, 3 steals, something like that. I'm ready for that. And I'm even ready for the other side if somehow it's reversed and you guys be like, oh, it's a good pick.
Oh, I love the pick.
No. All right.
Why's that, Mike? Mike's a big Brandon Miller guy.
I'm kidding. I just wanted to annoy you.
He loves the pick because it pisses me off. So many people love the pick because it pisses me off.
Obviously, you should have drafted Scoop.
The amount of texts I got, I will say, most of them were condolences. Most of them were condolences. They'd be some laughing, and then they'd be like, on a real though, I'm really sorry.
That was what I did.
Yeah. But that's it, man. Like,
Hornet's gonna Hornet, right?
I guess I have to like him. That's just it. I guess I have to like him.
I'm sure him and Book Knight will get along just fine.
Yeah. And Miles Bridges when we re-sign him, probably.
Yeah.
It's bad when the mascot of your team reacts the way he did. I don't know if any of you saw that.
That was
the mascot was bent over like he just heard news that his wife died. All right. So he's gonna get fired. But no one in Charlotte's happy.
I'll tell you,
no one's happy.
Maybe it's the Jaylen Brown thing, right? Remember when Jaylen got booed and the Celtics fan base was worried? Maybe you got a Jaylen Brown case, right? Think positive.
I don't think this is Jaylen Brown and Chris Dunn, The reason people wanted Chris Dunn was because, he goes to Providence and he's close. They knew no basketball insight on him.
That was the worst idea ever.
That's all I got, though. If you guys got anything that you want to laugh at me, like, for the rest of the time, we can, but
tune in next week when we go over Scoot's whole mixtape from his college days, and then we're going to talk about his outlook in Portland.
We're going to make a React channel.
Yeah.
Play the videos on screen.
Also, what size would you like the jersey to be, John? Larger?
There's no way you're getting me a Brandon Miller jersey. I'll actually shred it or burn it. Like, I'm not wearing that.
Oh, I don't care what you do with it.
You're gonna spend money on a Brandon Miller jersey. All right.
Just
all right. I think I held it together pretty good this episode. other than yelling at Mike for the first 10 minutes. And
But you did warn everybody at the
I
start
did
of the
warn
show that there
everyone.
was going to be yelling.
No, no tears at the end here. I'm crying inside, but
I'm crying on the inside too because Marcus Smart's in Memphis, so we're all crying at some point.
so this is a sad episode, but we kept the energy up. I think it was a very entertaining one, is what I'll say.
Yeah.
I think, Nate, I haven't even asked you this, but later in the week, Nate and I might do a baseball pod.
Ooh.
Because we have a lot of baseball to talk. Mike, I don't know how much you've been following. I don't know if you're up for it or if you have any insight.
Oh, I could give you some good Mets rants.
Oh, okay.
All right. Michael join for a Mets rant and then leave. But
yeah.
So I think we'll do that because baseball's been amazing. Not that anyone cares or talks about it, but that's what we'll do. So I think that's it from us.
I think so, yeah.
All right. And we'll see you soon for some baseball. Peace, everyone.
See ya.